Hey, what's going on, everybody? Zach here with Brandonwound Pickups, and welcome back to another episode of Rewind Time. Today, we have a couple of old Strat pickups. Cool, right? You guys know I love fixing these. So, this time it's a little bit different. First of all, we've never actually had one of these. These are really early, and we can tell that because the stagger is slightly different on the magnets. You can see that D string magnet there is lower than it would normally be. Right? That's cool. So, these both came out of the same guitar, I believe. This one does not have leads on it. I think the guy said somebody had a PVC lead on this or something. This one does. We're going to obviously say this is probably the bridge pickup based on the length of the wire here. These both appear to have the original windings on them. Neither one of them work, but we're going to see if we can save these things. So, real quick, 1955, these are early, second year for the Stratocaster. We have the different magnet stagger. We have bevels on the flat work, light bevels on the magnets. Not a lot of beveling going on in the magnets there. It was kind of inconsistent at that time. We have black wax, as we've talked about before. We have an extra tiny hole for the cloth lead wire that's almost impossible to get two cloth leads through, but they managed somehow, apparently. Yeah. So we're going to try to see if we can fix these. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat up these solder joints here. And we can see if we can bring this thing back to life. Because visually, the coil actually looks okay. I suspect we're going to run into a rust issue here as usual. Actually, I didn't want to do that. We're just going to heat these. I don't need any new solder. We're just going to, not that much. We'll come over here to the other one. Sometimes this will fix it. Not always, but sometimes you get lucky. Alright, let that sit a minute there. Our start and finish lead are still perfectly intact. Again, I'm thinking these are going to be rusty, but always worth a try. Take a look. Yep, still dead. So for this one, the next step would be to undo the finish wrap and take a bunch of winds off and see if we can find a break somewhere. Although again, I suspect we will not. So we'll do the same thing to this one. And another thing we're going to do with these pickups in particular, you see there's only two of them. That's because the third pickup in this set was this, which is an old pickup. It's a 73, but this is a gray bottom. Obviously, it's later. So what we're going to do is we're going to be making a replica of these 55 pickups from scratch, and we will age it to match these. And then the guy will have a full set to put back in the guitar, which will be kind of neat. That's going to be fun too. I always like replicating vintage pickups. It's a part of guitar restoration. It's fun to age stuff to match. All right, let's see if this one works. Nope, also dead. So, well, that one, the start wire is there. I didn't even look at that first, I should have. The start wire is there, but it looks a little iffy, so I'm going to take the leads out of this, and I'm going to take a closer look at that. But we'll do everything we can to save these, but if it, comes to where we can't, I'll let you know, and, well, I guess we'll just see what happens next. Alright guys, so I started unwinding one of the two pickups, and unfortunately, no luck. There were no breaks, everything seemed okay, and again, we have a rust issue, as I suspected. Pretty heavy rust on the two end magnets there. The middle ones aren't too bad, but the end ones are bad. They are rusty. Rough cast magnets, which is always cool. But yeah. So this is going to need rewound, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll have better luck with the other pickup. I'm going to start taking wire off of that one now. And, I don't know, maybe we'll at least be able to save one of them, hopefully. I'll talk to you in a bit. Alright guys, so we are back, and as you can probably tell, this is an entirely different day. So I started taking the wire off of this second pickup last night, and took a bunch off and realized it was probably going to need rewound as well. And unfortunately, it does. We have another victim of rust. We have decent corrosion on the high E magnet that would have broken the windings. We have actually fixed these before, guys. We just haven't gotten lucky enough to fix one on camera yet. Both Jared and I have fixed numerous pre-CBS pickups without having to rewind them. And I'm hoping we'll be able to do that one of these days on a rewind time. That's why I always try to film these. But anyways, not today. So we got to rewind these and we have to get them prepped and on the winder. We're going to wind them with 42 gauge heavy form bar wire, and we're going to hand wind them because that's what they did. However, before we do that, we need to talk about our replica pickup, because as you may have remembered from earlier, or in my case yesterday, we told you that there was a gray bottom pickup in this set. I believe it was from the 70s. Now, that's a potential problem. Let me tell you why. In fact, let me go grab the pickup. Alright, so here is our gray bottom pickup. It is a 1973, and it's a great pickup. This will sound nice, for sure, but there's an issue. So, in 1955, most of the time, these pickups are going to be north polarity, north up, right, with the magnets. Now, in 1960, ish, you know, could have been 59, 60, 61, whole transitional period. They switched these from north polarity to south polarity, right? So the kind of the early 60s black bottom pickups are generally south polarity, whereas the 50s are north. And then, of course, by the time you get to gray, they're pretty much all south. So this is a gray bottom Stratocaster pickup. Therefore, we know most likely this is going to be south polarity. I haven't tested this yet, but it's a really easy test here. Think back to your high school science class days, talking about magnets. Opposites attract. So if I try to stick these pickups together, I bet they're going to stick. Ready? Boom. So these pickups are different polarity. This is probably north, and this is probably south. Let's go ahead and verify that with our little magnet meter here. So we got our magnet meter. Make sure it's the right way so you can see it. Yep. Check this one. Cool, right? So why is this a problem? Well, in some cases, it may not be a problem, because in 1955, your Fender Stratocaster would have had a three-way switch, which means you either use the bridge, the middle, or the neck. However, if you've ever played one of those guitars, most of the time, if the switch is good enough, you can kind of balance it in between and get your 2 and 4 positions, which means you're going to be pairing it with one of the other pickups. And if you try to pair these together, not going to work. It's going to be out of phase. So we need to ditch this pickup, and you could have kept it. I could just switch the polarity on it, but we talked to the owner and they wanted to go ahead with the replica pickup. So we're going to make a replica of this pickup. We'll show you maybe a little bit of that process. This video is going to get kind of long, but yeah. So let's get going on that before we rewind these. All right, guys, so we are starting our replica pickup here. We have our originals for reference. Note we have nice heavy beveling on the top piece of flatwork there. We've talked about that before. This is a nice close-up of it. Now you see that kind of up through maybe the late 50s on the top flatwork. And on the bottom, it is a little bit beveled, not as heavily as I've seen before. Pretty cool. So we went ahead and replicated that. We've beveled our flatwork. Now, this is a special set of flatwork, not so much the top, but the bottom I actually went ahead and cut custom. Because on our normal flatwork, and we do cut all of our own flatwork here, Brandonwound, you can see it has that big giant lead wire hole, which is awesome. It's so nice. It's so easy to fit 2 cloth leads through there. But this is a restoration replica project, and the originals have that tiny lead wire hole, so I went ahead and adjusted my program, and we cut a little tiny lead hole. Now this was cut with a laser. We have an epilogue laser we used to cut all of our flatwork. Obviously back in the day, Fender wouldn't have done that. I think they pressed these, but you know, it's close enough. So we've got our bevels, we got our small lead wire hole, and everything's looking pretty good. Now we've got to get to the magnets. So we're going to lightly bevel our magnets, we're going to get them aged, and we'll get this skeleton kind of put together. Now, one thing I've got to mention real quick, yes, we are trying to replicate these pickups. We're trying to replicate the look pretty close. However, there will be distinguishing features on this that will tell you that it is not an original pre-CBS pickup, and that's really important when you're doing this. You don't want somebody to be mistaken that it's the original pickup in there when it is not. And we'll show you how to distinguish them once we get to the end here. So, I'm going to go ahead and build this up, and I don't know what we'll do next. We'll have to figure that out. Because again, this is a long video, so kind of hang in there, guys. We'll be done shortly. Okay, guys, so we have our new Strat skeleton here. Looking pretty good. It's not totally done yet, but we're getting close. We're dipped in lacquer, our magnets are aged, and we're getting there. So you'll notice these magnets look a little bit more grungy than ours right now. We will fix that. That's a little trade secret we'll be doing. And then we have our correct magnet stagger there, our 1954, 1955 stagger. Everything's looking good. I do have to clean these up and prep them for winding still. I'm probably going to do that now. Now, since we have to rewind all of these, or in this case, just wind this one because it's new, most commonly you are going to use the bridge pickup and the neck pickup in a Strat, right? I know some people use the middle pickup by itself, but not very many. So we're going to put the new pickup in the middle, right? And we're going to kind of calibrate the set to, 50 specs, but a little more ideal. Like we'll have the bridge a little hotter in the middle and the neck and so on. Because that wasn't always the case back then. The outputs kind of varied from pickup to pickup. Okay, so I'm going to clean up the old bobbins, get them ready to wind, and we are going to go ahead and wind these things. Alright guys, so we are currently winding one of the old pickups here. This should end up being the neck pickup. We are using 42 gauge heavy form bar wire, as they would have. And I'm going to go ahead and wind this and the rest of them, and we will show you guys everything when it's all done. See you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so we are all done. Here are the pickups. They came out absolutely fantastic. We have our original 1955 neck pickup. We have our reproduction middle pickup that I made to match. And we have our 1955 bridge pickup. So let's take a closer look, shall we? This is our neck pickup here, which is the original 55. We got our heavy form bar wire. We've got our black wax. We've got everything you want in one of these pickups. It is like brand new again, and it's going to sound just like it did when it left the factory. And this is around 5.7K, which is perfect. Here's our middle pickup, which came out amazing. I'm so happy with how this came out. It looks great. Maybe a little too good, actually. It's a little bit closer than I would like it to be, so I'm probably going to mark this with something so somebody knows that this is a reproduction, because, I mean, if you just hold these two together, I mean, there's not a lot there. It came out really nice. So, gotta look to see which one's which here. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to mark this because, like I said, I don't want anybody to get confused. But it's gonna look great. And it's gonna sound great too because the magnets are about the same strength as the original ones. It's got the right wire. That one came out at 5.8K, so just a little bit less than the neck, not a lot. And then here's our bridge pickup. Again, original 1955. Black wax, form bar wire. Can't beat it. It's gonna be great. So yeah, the set came out fantastic. I think we'll put up some pictures now so you guys can take a look at them a little bit closer up because I'm really bad about doing that. So you guys are taking a look at that now. This was a really fun rewind time. I mean, making that middle pickup, that is so much fun to do. Making it look like the originals, and you know, it's one of my favorite things. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on another episode of Rewind Time. Take it easy.